Hey, what's up everybody? So I'm at Bates Chiropractic and I'm gonna do some really cool stuff with trying to figure out how to mitigate the progression of my scoliosis. So as you listen to me talk through the mask, we're now going to be directed on how to change all these things. So you're gonna have an inside look on all the things that I do for my body to try to improve and optimize everything. So here we are. I'm well. I'm Josh Holland. I have an appointment at 10:15.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to have you fill out some paperwork. It's a lot, so just take your time.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to measure you so I can go ahead and take out the pieces that we think would best fit you.
Cool.
And then that way you could try them on and see how it would be if you did buy one. Okay. So I'm gonna go around so that's it.
Okay. Look at that. This gives me anxiety. This is like doing a school ACT test or something. And what is your name?
Jessica.
This is Jessica, everyone. All right. I love all the toys. There's Dr. Bates.
All right, hello.
Dr. Bates, how's it going?
Good.
Josh Holland, nice to meet you.
Yes,
And
welcome.
thank you. I'm excited to dive into everything. Everyone, this is Dr. Bates. He's going to be in charge of my body over this next period of time. So.
All right, well, have a seat.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so what brings you in here today?
So, I have scoliosis, and I was diagnosed late in my life. I'm 39 years old, but I found out that I had scoliosis when I was a junior in high school. So I was around 16, 17 years old, and wasn't sure if I was born with it or not.
Yeah.
Just because throughout my early childhood, every time I would go to get like a typical scoliosis check, you know, they just had me bend over and
Yes.
they would kind of go, okay, you're good. And it was interesting because when I would bend over, my spine actually would appear to be straight.
Yeah.
But when I stand, and as I developed and I got more muscular and things like that, I started to notice my ribs were off and I would have this dull sensation. It wasn't painful, but it was just a part in my right side that I think is the convex side, that it would force me to want to have to move. And I asked a substitute teacher one day, hey, I got this issue, and just kind of being funny. He happened to be a chiropractor who moved into our town.
Oh, well.
And he was like, hey, why don't you, let me check your back. He had me do the bend over. He didn't say anything, but he was like, and he did an x-ray. I tried to find my x-ray from my dad, but he doesn't seem to have it. This was over 20 years ago, but
Yeah.
that was the first time that I discovered I had scoliosis. So.
Okay. All right. And so have you had an X-ray since?
Not that I can recall.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Okay. And you've been doing a lot of, obviously you've been staying in shape, working out, taking care of yourself.
Trying.
And as far as anything specific then for your spine, for the scoliosis, like?
So I do a lot of hanging. I do a lot of breath work to try to breathe into the concave side.
Yeah.
I've done what's known as medical wave shockwave therapy, all kinds of stuff. But
Okay.
even like postural apparatuses and things like that. But ultimately, I know that, at least this is the reason why I came to you, is because I know that there is this idea of not bracing it,
Yeah.
but allowing the muscles to develop the way they're supposed to. So I wanted to kind of take what I know together with what you do and what you know to try to create the best possible outcome for myself.
Got it. Okay, good. Now, okay, so we're going to take a look.
Okay.
Right? Because just since you've been to a chiropractor, I'm going to explain briefly a couple things here. Because think of how the body works. Most people have 24 spinal bones that wrap around the spinal cord for protection. It's like your suit of armor. And in between the bones, you have the spinal discs. And the spinal discs are kind of they're absorbing the stress of gravity, but kind of distributing that stress too. And then in between the bones, you have these spinal nerves, and that's where the spinal nerves are going to carry life-sustaining messages from the brain down through the spinal cord, down through these nerves, and they're everywhere in your body. So it's going to affect everything here, okay? So you can say that if for some reason one of the specific spinal bones become misaligned, it can choke down on the nerve. That little hole gets a little smaller, the bone's not moving right. And what will happen is that the brain can't communicate very well through that particular nerve. When it does that, then the body will start going out of balance, and especially if it's under stress, then the body starts breaking down. So chiropractically, specifically, when we check you, want to see if you have any of these little joints that are out of alignment. If you do have them, that's where they make adjustments. The adjustments will open up those little nerve channels, allow motion back in the joint, allow the brain to start talking to these body parts, and it starts going into balance. So when the body's in balance, then it gets stronger from things. It's not unusual, and it's not unreasonable to think to be able to keep, going in 80s and 90s and be fully functional. Okay, so now with scoliosis, you can have a lot of different things that can cause scoliosis, but it can come on real early, or it can be a little later. It can be trauma induced. If that's the case, what will happen is that you get abnormal curves, and there can be all different types. It's going to be more of a lateral type of curve. So scoliosis in definition is just a lateral curve. So instead of being straight, you get these curves. And like what you're talking about is you have like a convex side, a concave side, and some people will have 2 curves, some will have 3 curves, some will just have 1 curve. But a lot of that, what people don't know is that we want it to be straight from the front. Okay, straight is strong, but then from the side, we want to have curves. So there should be lordosis, a kyphosis, and the other lordosis. So, and these curves should be about 36 to 40 degrees here in the low back and neck. So what happens is, a lot of times you're going to have a couple decreased curve in the neck, and you get some compensations and rotations in the spine, and that's where that scoliosis starts coming into play. So what we're doing today is let's do a physical exam.
Cool.
I'm just going to check out the spinal bones. Let's take an X-ray.
Cool.
And we'll measure out and we'll see where you are from there. Okay?
Yippee!
Okay. All right. So let's go. We'll go in the next room.
Okay.
Don't need to.
No.
You're going to put your hands right on that.
Okay.
And yeah, you can see how built up his muscles are on this one side. Big difference. And then it comes back down this way. I'm going to start right down here. Okay, so now as we're pushing in here, do you feel any pressure in your low back?
A little bit.
Okay, so right through this area?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do a straight leg raise. Lift that whole leg up. Don't let me push down, okay? Just hold it. Try this one. And hold. Yeah, feel the difference?
Oh yeah.
Try that again. Do this one. And hold.
There we go. Oh god.
Try this one. And hold. So this side seems to be a little weaker on the right.
I have pulled and strained my hamstring several times on this side.
Ah,
So I used to have a lot of issues with my right hamstring.
okay. Interesting. So when we press in here pretty firmly, usually I get a springiness in the pelvis that's definitely locking up right here in the sacrum. And I can feel it rotating right there. So a lot of times when that bone is out of alignment, it can interfere with the messages going down. It can weaken the power coming into the hamstrings and the leg. Okay. Feel that there? Let's turn your head to the left. And just let that relax there. Just feel the motion. Turn to the right. And let's feel that as one a little more comfortable to turn to.
This mask makes it all uncomfortable.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know. It feels about the
Yeah,
same.
okay, that's fine. Okay, let's lie your back now.
It's so interesting because I can feel the desire for, as soon as you put your hands on my hips and back,
Yeah.
I wanted you to like push so I can get that click.
I almost did, so instinctive. Okay, bend this knee. Okay, you're gonna hold here.
I just got a click in my back.
And just pull it. Just hold and don't let me pull down, okay? Okay, try this side. And hold. Let's try this one. Feel a little bit.
This one feels a little bit weaker.
Yeah, slightly. They're both have a little trouble with the right one still. So you have the hip flexor and extensors in there on that right side, all right? Okay, go ahead and let's bring that left arm up. Don't let me push down, hold. Good. And then we go here. And hold. Try that again, hold. Try this one again. So you are right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed. Would this be known as classic muscle testing?
Yes, so I'm just testing because I can't test the organs right now, so I'm testing the muscles. And so you definitely have some shoulder flexion that's weak here. It's actually this whole right side.
Yep.
Notice that?
Yep.
So let's go to the back.
So what have we discovered, Doc?
All right, so right now, just from the examination, that you're weak on the right side and the whole right side of the body. We found that there's some spinal bones out in the pelvis, the low back, so it's weakening the power down there, but also those nerves do go to organs. So a lot of people would be more predisposed to things like bladder problems, reproduction, and colon. That one in the mid-back, that can affect areas from that bone being out that could give susceptibility to the stomach, so things like acid reflux, indigestion, heartburn, gas. And then the one in the neck here goes right in the brachial plexus. So that's going to affect anything in that shoulder, the shoulder muscles, which show those a little weak, and things like thyroid, tonsils, things like that. And then the one really high, some people can get predisposed to things like headaches, migraines, sinus problems, blood pressure issues, and some people are just really like on a fast saddle, they just can't settle down because they're being more of a sympathetic dominance instead of a parasympathetic rest, relaxation, regeneration. So what we should do is take an x-ray of your spine. We're going to check out the scoliosis and we're going to see what's working right, what's not, and go from there, okay?
Perfect.
And then on this, we have little BBs on there to measure the skull over your shoulders.
Yeah, this is so cool.
Okay.
Alright, so getting poked and prodded and imaged.
Okay. All right, so we've measured out, you can see that in the thoracic curve, it's about a 38-degree curve, thoracic scoliosis. So that puts it, so 10, about anything over 10 degrees is considered scoliosis. And you have to about 20 to...
This is important.
Okay, all right. So anything over 10 degrees is considered scoliosis. From 20 to 25 degrees, is anything above that is going to be moderate. And then once you get up to about 40 and above, that's severe. Typically when you go into over 40 is when they start talking about surgery. Okay? And it really depends as an adult, is if one, if it's getting worse, two, if it's creating a lot of symptoms. Usually it's the pain that's going to drive people into the surgery when they're an adult. But then if it keeps progressing, then it's going to create more pressure on the nerves, and then it's going to create problems typically with the cardiovascular and lung issues. Besides, there's going to be a whole slew of other things from it being out of balance chronically, okay? Chronic pain could be one of them. So you can see, so what I wanted to find out here, simply, is we do a stress x-ray. We want to see if this can actually change when we put you in a stress posture. So right away, what I want to do is I raised the right shoulder and did a right shoulder reach. You see it just, that curve just goes almost straight, right?
Yeah.
In the upper part. Then what we did is we just did, instead of this, then we did this to get the bottom part, and you can see it goes almost straight again. All right, so it gives us a clue on some rehab that needs to be done in order to try to correct and get that curve under control.
Now, I will note, when I did that, when you had me hold that position, I got a cramp in my lat.
Yeah.
On my lat, close to my oblique on that side.
Yeah. So it's going to be, because this is so out of balance, and these muscles are out of balance right now because you have such a development on one side, and it's actually where you get the big buildup, it gets overworked. So for example, this side is going to be really overworked, and it's just going to stretch and sometimes get weaker, and this just gets contracted and real tight. So part of the care would be is to really break this stuff up in here and then recondition it before you start molding it with some of the things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we go like that. Then we look at this. This is looking at your pelvis from behind. You weren't born with this, we just didn't take off your belt. So this is the right side of your body. So you have kind of this translation as if we picked you up and put you over here. So it's not a scoliosis down lower. So what we did is we said, okay, well, let's take you and just translate this over here and take a picture. And you can see now it looks almost perfect, right?
Wow.
So once again, it gives us a really good idea on a corrective exercise for you to get this thing under control.
Mm-hmm.
So we took this is just a side view of the low back. It's a little bit increased in the curve. But the neck, normal curve, this is a lateral picture of the neck. Normally you want to see the ears over the shoulders when you're standing up straight. That's why we were saying stand up with your best posture. So you want to get your back over this way. You're about 42 millimeters stuck forward even when you try to stand up straight. So that's got to be corrected. And then there should be a curve from the side, should be 36 degrees. Anywhere about 36 to 40 is kind of like the sweet spot. So the goal is you really have to get this head back over center and get the curve back, and that's typically going to happen before these curves start really correcting, because the body's compensating in different ways. Kind of like what you were talking about the chiropractor before. You said one side looked kind of like the other one. Yeah, they both look curved from the side and the front. So in other words, we want to see straight from the front and curve from the side.
I have staples in my head. What is that?
They look like little springs. I don't know if it's from your, what are you wearing?
Oh, it's from this. It is springs.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting. It's the springs of the mask.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Good eye. So you saw that. Most people don't see it. I had one guy come in and I saw him when I looked at his mid back, and he had 2 bullets in his body. And
bullets?
Yeah, they go, you have bullets in there. He goes, oh, I thought they got those out. And so he didn't know. He didn't know they were still in there.
Okay.
So anyhow, so the idea is get the curve back in. There's ways to do that. And get the curve back, get the head over center. Another thing is, and get corrective exercise for that. The Scoliosis activity suit can help with some of that. But you'd really have to do some of those other type of maneuver specific, kind of an isometric and eccentric type of exercises with holds to get that working right. And then some of the modalities that we use in here to free up some of the areas that we were talking about. The adjustments are critical because you have to get those joints moving while everything's changing, so the brain can communicate with all the body parts so it stays more balanced while it makes changes. Okay, so how long would it take on something like that? Well, really, it's just a matter of if it will work too, because everyone's different. Some people can get long-term, get some great changes and maybe get 20, 30 degrees improvement. Some can just make a couple, degrees. Some don't make any. So you never really know until you get into it. And it really depends because there's a lot of work that you have to do. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of you putting in 100%, and then, with what I do is make adjustments, and with some of the things we do in here. So what we do usually, if people are in town and whatnot, we have what we call kind of a boot camp where we use specific type of modalities. One would be we want to put you on a table, and the table breaks away and moves automatically, to where it would put you in this posture to where you'd be raising the shoulder, so it straightens that out. We'd have a strap coming in here and bend you, so then it would also get this part too at the same time. So you'd be raising your shoulder and a strap coming in here, and everything would be moving, and we'd translate translate your body over a little bit, so the pelvis would be over this way, while you're all in that position. And then it moves. When it does that, that type of thing would break up all the scar tissue in the restricted areas in here and get that used to a translated posture. Then we would go ahead and adjust you. Then we would put you up on a vibrating platform with weights in certain areas, so when it's vibrating, the little subconscious muscles will wake up. It's called neuromuscular education, to where it thinks stuff like this forward head posture. It thinks this forward head posture when you're standing straight is normal, but we want it to get used to the head back over center more with a curve, and the muscles will start readapting to that. So it'd be a subconscious re-education on there. Okay. So typically it would go. People when they're here, they usually go 3 times a week. They do it for 3 months, and then re-x-ray and see how far they get. In between this, they would wear the scoliosis activity suit and walk around and do that for 20 minutes. Some people go up to 2 hours on that. Okay. Okay. Any questions with that so far?
It's very thorough. I love it. Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but this is very thorough.
Okay. So what we could do, if you want, I can adjust you.
Okay.
And we'll show an adjustment.
Yeah.
On the scoliosis, and then we'll fit you in the suit and have you walk in it and have you at least stand on the, because these are things I know I can do right now, and then have you stand on the vibration platform and just get an idea of that.
Perfect.
All right? Okay, so let's go do that. Cool. Okay, so we know that there's a translated portion here. We know there's a quite a large 38-degree curve here, and then it comes back up this way about 30 degrees. We know that there's the whole right side is weaker. It has a forward head posture and 100%, actually a negative curve of about 17 degrees instead of 36 degrees. So what we're going to do, and when was your last adjustment?
It was well over a year ago.
Okay. So a little different on how we're probably going to feel this adjustment. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to have you slide this way a little bit more. Okay.
Almost on jewels.
Okay, get comfy. Good.
Okay.
Is it all right?
I think so.
Okay, good. This got to be comfortable. So what I'm going to do, I'm just feeling for a little lateral motion in here, because a lot of times the QLs will be pretty reactive anyhow.
It always feels good when I do a myofascial release on the QL.
Yes, yes, because they're working overtime with you. And then the elbow down and feeling the glute medius and minimus.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff will really.
Actually, that's what you guys want to do. I accept insurance.
I'm going to take the occiput just real light here and just breathe over. Good. Excellent. And face down. A nice motion through there. Excellent. And let's turn to the other side. Let me get this transition. Just feel a little bit of something here. Good. Now let's have you sit up for a moment. So remember, you have that curve coming up here, right? Okay. So I want you to, let's try this. Just, you're pretty big in the shoulder, so let's see if we can get it this way. So you're going to come in here and just relax your hands. There we go. Good flexibility. Nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring you this way, but I'm going to bend you. So I got you. I'm going to bend you this way a little bit so we can get that curve. Yeah, great. Yeah, it's like a rock in some of those areas. That's what we're talking about. How it's real stiff, but it moves. So lie on your back.
Wow, this is so good.
He's doing a good job relaxing. Okay. Nice. Beautiful. That's what I don't want. Beautiful.
I
Excellent.
love all of this.
We're going to have to do a lift. Now this was pulling from the top, because you know how you like to hang a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to come in here, and you're going to feel this here. Yeah. Good. And just like on a pillow.
See Friday, thanks.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Good. Feel a little stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Good motion there. Power's on. Good job.
Woohoo! This is so amazing.
All right, so now we're gonna put on that suit. Jessica's gonna put the suit on you, and then we're gonna jump you up on the vibration for a few minutes.
I'm gonna go behind like glute area. Here. So it just adds more tension. All right, so you could kind of walk around here. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's good. I feel things moving. Yeah, it's interesting.
So the idea of that is you're trying to push it more into a it's going to cause it to respond to where it's going opposite the curve. So let's say you get this rotation, it's going to be pulling it a little into the curve, and the body will respond by pulling it back in, an over response. So with each step that you take. So it's kind of you can work on the same type of principle as riding reflex, where if we overload like with your head, if we're going to correct the forward posture of your head, we may put a lot of weight in the front, strap it on, put you on the vibration platform, and if someone threw you a weight out here, you'd want to bring it over to center right away without thinking about it, so that's the riding reflex. So when you start getting off balance a little bit, the body will start pulling things into center. So and then you get the axis of rotation is working nicely, because it works a lot of rotation in there too. So normally we'd be walk about 20 minutes, work up to about 2 hours, but today we're going to put you just to test you on the vibration platform. Piece.
Yeah.
Okay, stand right here, and stand with good posture, toes pointing straight ahead. And you're going to feel this starting to vibrate. So normally we'd have you walk in the suit, but for today, since you have it on, we're going to keep it on. It's activating those muscles. This is causing your head to be pulled back over center, and then the body will start trying to correct with some of the curves in here too.
You know. So yeah, with this, I do feel my body trying to correct.
Good.
It's interesting.
Excellent.
Also noting the weakness in the flexion and extensors on the right side was pretty eye-opening, so I'll be focusing on that too for sure.
But we're going to test you right after this, and this should all go strong from the adjustment.
Yeah.
So we're going to see. So the question is how long it's going to stay strong.
Right.
That's why you got to make all these other corrections.
Yeah.
That's definitely freer in here. Good. Let's do a straight leg raise. Lift the whole leg and hold. Try this one. Hold. Yeah, see that's locked. Nice. This on your back. So neurologically, because we move the bones, brain's going to be able to communicate with those muscles more, and then they function better. Okay, don't let me pull down. Hold. Notice it's locking this time. Excellent. Let's do this. And hold. Good. It's locked out. Let's go ahead and sit up and face me. Let's try the left arm and hold. Now this one, hold. A lot better. Good job. Okay.
This is awesome.
Yeah, good job. The power's on.
All right, now that was very interesting, very enlightening. I just finished my appointment and my fitting for the I guess it's called the Scoliosis suit. The Scoliosis suit. Basically, it's a suit, and it's a series of straps. I kind of thought it was a suit at first, but it makes sense now that I've gone through my appointment and I've gone through the fitting. What they do, and we'll talk about this on a podcast at some point, but what they do is they take an x-ray, a series of x-rays. First, they determine what your curvature is. And mine was at the greatest bit of curvature was in my mid-back on my right side. That's the concave side. And that was about a 38-degree curvature. And then getting closer up to my cervical spine, closer to my neck, it's about a 30-degree curvature. And then everything else kind of normalized, which is interesting because our bodies learn how to adapt to that compensation, right? And so what I also thought was cool is not only did he x-ray me in a static position, front and then to the side, he also had me get into positions to see if the position of my body would have an effect on the spine, if it would straighten it out. And of course it did. So you'll see that in the video, which is really cool. And then Dr. Bates not only showed me all of that, which was very encouraging for me, because now that tells me, oh, I can do more things like this to show. It's almost like seeing your spine in real time without it being in real time, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's really cool. So then he took me to do an adjustment, and during the adjustments, I was able to I could feel that there was an improvement based on what he was doing. And he also did some muscle testing, which is a series of trying to determine where the compensations are. And so he figured out, and I found out that my right side, my entire right side, from the shoulder to the hip and even the hamstrings, is a little weaker. So I have some things to work on now. And then just by seeing the x-rays and feeling the treatments, I know there's some things I can do even before I do get my suit. And so obviously the suit is not designed to correct me. It's designed to encourage the strengthening of the muscles and to kind of take out this reliance upon the compensation within my physical structure, my skeletal structure. So, I don't anticipate there being a huge change or like completely straightening out of my spine, but if you know me well, you know I'm going to put the work in, and I'm going to do a lot of these exercises to continue trying to either slow down the progression, completely halt the progression, or improve the curvature of my spine. So that was fun, very interesting, learned a lot. Hope you learned a lot, and let's see what happens. We'll check back in at some point in the future. Peace.